Welcome everybody to the Grind podcast. I screw that up every time. And this is episode 9 and I've got some great guests for all of you. Before I get into that, just a quick reminder, !grind will bring you the link to our Discord, which is open. You can come hop in and send in your question submissions for the end of the show. So I'm going to start out the episode like I start out every episode. I'm going to ask my guests who they are and why we should care about them. So let's jump straight into it. We'll start with you, Kolsti. Who are you and why should we care?
Hello, I'm Kolsti. I'm the head coach for One.Point. And what would you care about me? I don't know, because I'm the best, probably. No.
Nice confidence. I like it. As moving swiftly along, Swimmer, who are you and
Hi.
why do we care?
So I'm the main sport for Uprising Academy, the North American Contenders team, the Academy team for Boston Uprising, as you can see on my hat. And why should you care? I don't know. I'm a Mercy main and a Lucy main, so that's about it, honestly.
Hell yeah, rise up. And finally, Erki, who are you and why do we care?
Yo, my name is Erki. I play Flix DPS for Angry Titans, and you should care about me because we've almost won Contenders 2 times in a row now.
Nice.
Almost.
But you're a
Almost.
flex DPS? Because according to our social media guy, you're a hit scan.
Yeah, I saw that. I was really confused. Have you never watched any games? I play Brick.
You're discovering talents you never knew you had.
Exactly.
My bad.
Oh my god. We're just seeing Angry Titans running around in the background there. Don't worry about it too much. All right. So we're going to start off with short interviews for all of our guests, just finding out who they are, what they're about, that kind of thing, and then we'll jump straight into our topic. So, Kolsti, we'll start with you once again. Tell us, first and foremost, how did you get into professional gaming?
So at first, I was leaving my job because I didn't like it. And then I met Hip, who is currently in Paris Eternal, and he told me, hey, do you want to play video games for money? I was like, yeah, why not? So he got me into Gamers Origin, and we started grinding. Then I got noticed by Movie Star Riders. Just went up first 2 years. And now lately, like, my gaming career didn't go so well, so my player career. So I decided to become head coach because I really like helping people improve and become better as players. And yeah, pretty much
was
it.
Overwatch? So Overwatch is your first competitive game. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like on every game I played, I was always competitive or like near the top. But Overwatch is the first game I really tried to go competitive on, because like I wanted to get my master's degree before going into game, so I could have like a backup option in case shit the fan.
And so, now you've moved on to the coach role. How's that been working out for you? How different is that from being a player? Because obviously, in terms of how much knowledge you need to have in the game, you need a lot to be a player, but there's so much more to be a coach. So how has that transition been for you?
So far, I've had a great staff helping me transition to a coach, because like I still have the player mindset kinda, and it's like you need to be above them, and like be able to give them directions, be firm, but like while still being fair. So like it's really interesting for me to be able to transition as a coach. And I think I'm gonna be able to do great work. And we've had stuff happening with One.Point, but like all the team, everyone like keep their motivation up.
Well, at the moment, you're basically a player coach, having to take up that main tank position. How's that been?
I mean, it was a one-time thing because like we lost Latex 2 days before the official, so we didn't have the chance to change the roster since it was already locked. And since I had previous experience as main tank, I was like, yeah, I would just fill in instead of forfeiting. And then it was a pretty close match. I think 80, we played strong, 80 played strong, but like 80 can be more. I know they can do more. So it was an upset, but a good thing for us.
Nice. And it's been cool to see you on the field again. I think everybody was kind of sad and surprised when you decided to retire as a player. So I think it's kind of cool to see you get back into it, even if only for one game.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So, Swimmer, how did you
Hi.
get into professional gaming?
So as my name implies, I'm a swimmer, and I've been swimming since I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I was doing competitive swimming in high school. And to get credits, I was doing water polo as well as some friends from swimming. And I was in a water polo game, and I noticed I had a lot of knee pain, and I didn't know why. Went to the doctors, found out that I was born with my knee in two pieces, so that was fun. And and so I decided, like, hey, this is kind of bad. I took a step out of the water for a few weeks, and during that time, I started playing Overwatch. My friend was like, hey, you should play Overwatch; it'll be fun. I really enjoyed it, and I kept playing. I got on an open division team, Relapse Spirit. That was my first team. And then I went to the Philadelphia Fusion Hometown Heroes event for like their academy team to try and get in their team, and I loved it. So I was like, I want to keep doing this. So I
Nice.
mean, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, that's not pretty much it. Obviously, you've come so far from your very
Mhm.
first open division game. You've
Yeah.
really worked your way up through the ranks. Now you're on an academy team. That's kind of
Mhm.
huge. Pretty impressive. And of course, you've got a lot of big fans.
Yeah, I do, I guess.
um so where do you see yourself going from here? Obviously everybody's kind of following your career and everybody's really
Mhm.
excited for you, and I think everybody kind of wants to see you up on that main stage. So what
Mhm.
do you think, how's that looking for you in the next couple of months? I know that's a difficult question for a
Uh,
player.
I mean, I'm hoping for the best. Obviously, I'm gonna keep working hard. I'm putting in a lot of work every day. I'm doing scrims. I'm doing VODs. I'm doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, hopefully, I get tryouts. Hopefully, I make it onto the main stage. If not this season, hopefully next season. But I'm gonna just keep working hard and do my best. I guess there's nothing much else I can do.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to have somebody on the show that hasn't been doing the region flip flop.
Mhm.
We've had people jumping from NA to EU consistently.
Mhm.
So, and you've been sticking with NA this whole time, and
Mhm.
it's been consistent. And I think that's really great to see, especially for aspiring players. You know, you can stay in your region and still do
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, for sure.
And what are your biggest goals, like short term? Obviously, long term. We know what long term is. What are your
Yeah.
short term goals here?
I think short term is I mean, we already hit one of them was get our first four on contenders. Last season we had a few issues with paying a new team and all that kind of stuff. It was a completely new roster. All of us were new to each other, so we trying to get meshed together. So our first four was really big. Our other goals this season is again, everyone on NA knows or has this goal. It's to beat Fusion University. Mainly
yeah.
because Uprising Academy has a bit of history with Fusion University. We've always brought them to 3-2. We've always lost in the last map. So I want to bring it home this year and hit a 4-0, you know?
Hell
No
yeah.
no 3-2s, 4-0s here. So that's
That's the
the
dream.
one goal. And then the second goal is to make it to the LAN this year. It'd be my first like actual LAN, so I really want to do that.
Nice. That's really exciting. All right, let's move on to you, Erki. You've been with Angry Titans forever. How did
Yeah.
you get into competitive esports?
All right. So I basically just started to play, competitive Overwatch. I really loved it, and I played it all the time. And then I had a friend of mine who asked, like, "Do you want to play in a team, stream a bit?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And then from that, like, we played a little bit. It wasn't a big team at all, but I got the kind of the experience. I knew like how fun it was to scream and stuff like that. So after that, I play with a few smaller teams. I play with a team called New Kings just before I joined Angry Titans, which actually consisted of me, Ellie, and Spectral, and Fat actually, who's in our team now. So, and after that, I got to try with them, and I got the offer, and I took it, and I've been with them for more than a year now. So, yeah.
Nice. So all three of you started out your careers in Overwatch. That's actually huge. And obviously you guys have done so well for yourselves so high up in contenders. So Overwatch, did you ever play like other games leading up to Overwatch that made you get into Overwatch and then go, wow, this is going to be the game, if that makes sense?
Uh, I mean, I played a lot of CS:GO and League of Legends before that. I was pretty high ranked, and but it was just like a new game. I actually played Overwatch in the beta or in the beta, and I thought it was really boring, to be honest, because there was no competitive play.
Wow.
I thought it was so boring. But then when the first season of competitive came out, I was like stuck. From then, I mean, it's been toned down. The like this season is pretty bad, or the latest season in competitive is pretty bad. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoy scrimming and playing tournaments and all that. That's so fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys live in the team house. What's that like? What's a team house like?
Uh, it's I would say both good and bad. You know, you have to adapt from like it's a new environment. In your home, you're really comfortable. So wait, what is stand on the paper there? I didn't see. All right, but whatever.
Pandas Bay.
All right, so but yeah,
Um,
it's just good. You know, I think it's better to be in a team house. You get to know each other and do a lot of stuff together. So yeah, definitely beneficial for sure.
nice. I suppose that also helps with team synergy. You know, you guys get to know each other more than just online. You build that brotherhood, and especially being with the Angie Titans for so long, that's a really long time to be with one team. Was that like a personal choice? Have you just been like, this is my team and I love it, or?
I mean, yeah, basically, I think a lot of my teammates, I mean, the team in general has gotten a lot of other offers, but pretty much neglected them because we want to stay together. We're really good friends. But yeah, for this season, obviously it's different. But you know that has to happen sometimes, right? You wanna advance and try and get to the bigger teams, I suppose.
Rip bloody, you'll be remembered.
Yeah, and Elwood. Yeah.
Oh my god, everybody. Cool. I think that pretty much brings the introductions. Lord, I can't speak today to a close. Let's start out with the first couple weeks of Contenders. NA, I think you guys have just had your first week, and EU is in its second week already. So you guys have been able to play a couple games now. How has the competition been, in your opinion? Oh my god, really? Kolsti.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fun, Spice. Let's start with you, Swimmer. How has NA been? You've only been able to play the one game so far. How's it feeling?
It feels really good to play again. I think like scrimming is fun, but I think officials has like a different spin to it. It's way more fun in my opinion. I think this season there's a lot it's a lot closer in competition. I think last season there were a few outliers in the highs and the lows, but I think this season, at least on our side of the bracket, it's really really close. So I'm excited for this season. Montreal did really well against us, but we I think just did better. I think that's just about it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you guys, as somebody that casted SA Contenders, I love
Mhm.
seeing Klaus, and I love
Yeah.
watching Farah on Oasis. So
Mhm.
big. I'm secretly in my heart, I'm rooting for you guys. Just
I mean,
every
I'll take
second.
it. Thank you.
And what about you guys over in EU? How have your first games been?
I mean, to be honest, yesterday was pretty shaky. I would say I was pretty scared in the end there. And the first game felt really good. We obviously 4-0 Young and Beautiful. We had a good game plan, and we knew what they were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, versus One.Point, we didn't have a clue what they would do because they have literally one player left in the team, which is Scaler. So I mean, we got a bit, we got surprised, but yeah, I mean, we touched out in the end, luckily.
That's quite a hot take. Kolsti, rebuttal?
I mean, we can't know what we're gonna do if we don't know what we do, right?
Yeah.
That's what we went for, like the surprise factor, the cheese factor, and it actually worked. Like,
Hell yeah, it did.
yeah,
That
but so
was
far, like with 1 point, the only bad thing is like every week we have different, like every 3 days, like we have a player getting poached or leaving, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult for all of the teams just before trials. I remember, I mean, that was like the great poach of 2019. But you guys, it's just been continuing along. How has that been in terms of team synergy? Like, how are the guys feeling? I suppose most of them are new, so.
I mean, they are really frustrated, like because you see, we start building something together, then one leaves, so we have to restart from the beginning, and it's actually quite hard. And like for the players, I feel really bad, but like as a coach, it's a challenge for me to
Mhm.
be able to rebuild that team together and make sure they still play as a team and not like individual.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty hard on us, but we're gonna go through it. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Nice. And Swimmer's already mentioned that their titan of the season is going to be Fusion University. Have there been any other teams that have really stood out to you, kind of in scrims or whatever, that you feel like, wow, this is the team to beat?
It's probably Team Giganti. Like they're just too clean, too strong, and like they have the same roster than last season. And like it's just the way they play. You can learn a lot from them, and facing them every time in scrims or in officials, like you basically relearn how you play goats, and it's just insane to play them. Then we have also Samsung, British Hurricane. Like I'd say, British, Samsung, and Giganti are like the three top teams in EU contenders right now.
Yeah.
And so you're just
Sorry,
gonna
Okay.
like agree with that? Just a big old yip.
Yeah, we'll see. In officials.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you beat them. Like, for to be honest, I want you to beat them. But right now on paper, I'd say they're like still a bit above you.
Yeah, I think definitely Gigant is the cutest team right now. But the other two, I don't know. They're very bad.
They are very beatable, but like Giganti is really hard to find weaknesses in their play.
Yeah, for sure.
They are, but like very small mistakes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Swimmer, you mentioned Fusion University. Are there any other
Mhm.
teams besides
Uh,
Fusion?
I mean, there's a few teams I want to beat. I think they're as well really good. Mayhem Academy, personally, because I'm friends with both Web and Mangachu on that team. And it's like I think it's cool because I feel like I as a player I'm kind of new to the like professional scene. Like Contender season 2, I was watching as an open division player. I watched like Toronto Esports play Fusion University, and like I watched those games. I thought it was like that's so cool. I want to make it one day. So like I watched Mangachu, I watched Web, I watched like all those players and like Fact Fiction. So to be able to play against them would be really really cool. I think so. I'm excited for that. And I think we're gonna do pretty well against them. Outside of that, I think just Fusion and possibly Gladiators Legion. But I think on our side of the bracket, that's probably we already passed our day one challenge, which is Montreal. So I don't think anyone really else.
Yeah, I think the games that we've seen so far in Contenders have been really good. I did mention I enjoyed watching your game earlier with Klaus popping off there. I'm sorry, like my heart goes to SA forever. And of
I think
course,
it's
we had
great.
and the Angry Titans versus One.Point, and that worked out so well for us here at the grind. Obviously, when we planned our guests, we didn't really think that that was going to be the spiciest game of the season so far. So I'm really glad that I got to have you both on here. And there's like an undercurrent of banter there. And I feel like you guys should run with that because I like spice and it's going to be fun. So I think we could probably move on to our next topic. But before we do that, I just want to remind everybody !grind. It will bring you to our Discord server where you can submit your questions for the guests, which we will do at the end of the show if we have enough time. So the next item on our agenda is a big one, mostly because it's patch notes and there's a lot of them. There are some crazy changes that are coming into Overwatch in the next couple of patches. And first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about Baptiste. His abilities seem quite insane, and I'd love to know your guys' take on what he might bring to the meta, or possibly not, if it's not going to change too much.
Uh,
Coach's perspective first. Go ahead.
Coach,
Hey.
pitches first. I think it can be a great meta changer, but it's gonna depend on who is gonna replace. Like because the one of the biggest thing we have is Zenyatta being nerfed, just damage amplification reduced, and also Lucio speed boost. So it's gonna depend on how people want to approach. Because the biggest issue you have running poke composition or dive composition against the 3-3 is that you barely have time to poke them. If they have better positioning, you are gonna get rolled on. So it's gonna depend on how fast you can charge your ultimates with Baptiste and how effective it can be. Who are we gonna replace? Like he can replace a lot of different heroes, and I don't think the 3-3 meta is gonna disappear now. But it can make a big hit. But the problem is if we go off 3-3 meta, it's gonna become a Wrecking Ball meta, and I don't think it's gonna be much better, to be honest.
I don't know, man. Quad DPS is looking spicy on those first point payload maps.
Yeah, it's pretty strong because like you can have in attack or in defense, the defender has to have a position and perfect setup. And if they do one mistake, you can punish that really hard. But you also need a good discipline on the 4 DPS comp, but also on the 3 comp.
All right. And what about you two players that are shyly sitting there and pretending to see you? What do you think? I mean, there's so many changes that have come through. There's the beam type damage that's been reduced. So that's a little bit of a nerf to Zarya. Damage boost applied when a projectile is fired rather than when it hits the target, which means that like you can fire a projectile and then Mercy can just run off and not have to wait for that to happen. Does that make a big difference? There's so many updates. Pick one. Tell me about it. How is it going to make a change?
I guess I'll go. I mean, honestly, I think goats will be like map dependent now. I don't think it'll be like every map. I think a lot of the changes are kind of like a big hit to goats, especially with all the DPS buffs. I haven't really been able to test much just because I've been focusing on contenders patch on that kind of stuff. But I did a few pugs and we played Soldier Pharah with a Mercy Zen against 3-3 and we actually first held them. So like I think goats like I think again it's just map dependent. I'm excited just to see what'll happen. But I mean, I really don't have much opinions. I think the Mercy change doesn't do a lot. The Lucio change is pretty big coming from a Lucio player. For like as a personal hero, I think like he'll still be fine. I think he'll be in the exact same position. But as like a team based hero, he'll be a lot different. But I think the Zen nerfs are big as well. I don't think it'll like take him out of the meta. I think he'll still be like kind of solidified in the meta, like pretty well. But I think it is definitely a change that we'll see more Ana possibly, or a bit more Moira, stuff like that. So.
Yep. I mean, can I go?
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's so hard to predict like what the meta is gonna be because there's so many changes, right? I mean, we had so many nerfs to goats and especially Bridget, but it never works, right? So you never know how many nerfs is actually needed. But I really want the ghosts to go away because it's been like what 10 months now since the goat team actually played in a beat tournament and won. Like it's been so long and it's like,
been
really
almost a
frustrating to play
year.
Bridget all the time. Yeah, it's like actually insane. Never seen that in a game before. That a meta being so established for so long. Yeah.
I mean, and it's not like Blizzard haven't been doing anything to try to shift the meta. I mean, if we look at the amount of changes that they've brought into different heroes, the McCree buff recently was absolutely massive. We brought about that protect the McCree meta. We've also had some changes to Mei to try and buff her up because she can work fairly well against goats in terms of creating the one-man advantage and slowing and whatever. And obviously Moira increased healing, so that'll help against spam compositions. So they're definitely trying to isolate this meta. And that brings me to what maps do you think will see goats on the most? Where will it be the most prevalent once these changes come live?
Close quarter maps.
Mm-hmm.
0, first point, cough. Because the thing is with the goat's position is have a really good ult economy, whether it's against dive or against another goat. So, like really on maps where you have to fight for chokes, goat is gonna still be dominant. On high ground maps where you can have good setup, on Gibraltar, I think it can become a more dive or at least poke heavy composition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to add to that. I think anywhere there was like not like a ton of high ground. I think because we're seeing like snipers on Gibraltar right now, even in like the middle of Goats meta. Yesterday, I forget it was I think it was Hurricanes. They played a ton of like snipers on Gibraltar, so I think it's already kind of shifting that way. I think the new patch will help that a lot.
Yeah, I think we first saw the team yesterday when we played double sniper on defense there. Not sure what team it was, but
No, cannot remember that. It didn't happen. It was just a dream.
Probably. Yeah.
No,
And
but
how
yeah,
do you
like
Go ahead.
it's just like on some maps when you can have perfect setups, and if you are disciplined enough, you can beat goats even in the current meta. And the next patch is gonna make this kind of competition even stronger.
And how do you think Goats is going to stack up against floats? Obviously, there's been a little bit of a buff there to Winston and how his damage works. Do you think we'll be seeing a bit more floats than Goats?
I don't think we will like goats hard counters floats, to be honest. Like depending on the map, to be honestly, but like if it's a pure goats map, the goats always stronger. Because
Yeah,
you
I
have
mean-
like better space control with the range.
Okay.
I
'Cause,
think I think it'll be
I-
interesting for sure because I think with the DPS changes and the Zen nerfs, I think floats might like kind of die out a bit. I haven't tested it because I've been focusing on contenders, of course, but I think it'll be interesting to see a matchup between like a DPS comp and floats. I think DPS might edge out a bit if the DPS are like considerably better than the goats team, but I'd have to test that.
All right. Because I don't know if you guys did see this on Reddit. One of the other coaches in NA, Solheim, did like so much maths about the Winston changes, trying to figure out how the damage stacks up. So there's been a lot of talk about floats being a little bit stronger because of the damage against armor and how that's been changed, the beam damage buff as well. But I hear your point about space and how it will probably be map dependent. I'm assuming. You know, maps with more high ground would definitely favor the floats a little bit more, unless I'm crazy.
Yeah, it's just like the thing is like with when you play the gods composition, it's really easy to take small advantages, small wins that you cannot do with floats if the map doesn't allow it. Like Horizon, for example, is a good example of when floats is good, but you can still counter it with goats. Like if you
Yeah,
have,
I agree.
it depends on
Especially in these 2CP maps like Buscaya as well. A lot of teams run goats on first point defense, but if the other team picks goats, it's gonna snowball, especially if they win first fight.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like it depends on the strategy you're gonna apply, like how you counter the enemy strategy. It's gonna be even more map dependent than it is right now.
That's
Yeah.
good though.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think,
Like we want the
Yeah.
game
yeah.
to be more diverse, but like if goats was strong on like 50% of the case, that would be great. But right now it's just the best play you can do and the safest play because you have to always think like you cannot just only think first fight. You have to think for the whole game how you
Yeah.
gonna handle the rest of the game. So like the safest bet at the moment.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the more complex metas, but it's definitely getting a bit stale now, and it's going to be nice to see some diversion. What am I saying? Diversity coming through from the compositions. What I also am happy to see, I don't know how you guys feel about this. Before goats, dive was quite prevalent as well. And what's nice now is that we're moving into a state where it's not just one meta. There's going to be a rotation of different metas for different maps, different points, different play styles. I think this we could be moving into the most diverse Overwatch that there's ever been. Thoughts?
I think it'll
Like,
be
like,
you guys.
go ahead.
No, you.
So, like you said that the dive meta was like before goats, but I don't really agree with that because it was quad tank that was actually the meta, and so it would probably just go back to quad tank again or something.
Thanks, who?
And
Thanks
and
you.
in Korea will go dive again or something, and yeah, then they will lose the gauntlets and all that, and I'm fine with that.
You just ruined my fun. I was getting so excited about tons of different metas, and now you're like, nope, quad tank.
Yeah, yep. I'm sorry.
You can thank EU for that.
Thanks, EU.
You're not wrong, man. EU really likes their tanks.
I mean, it's based a lot on team play, and that's what this game is about. When like, why not abuse heroes that are strong? If you would just shoot yourself in the foot abusing them.
Yeah.
But the thing, like from a spectator point of view, dive is much nicer to watch because then you
Yes.
can have like people pop off. Like we can all remember Carpe on Widow, or even Toon, like that. It's just
Yeah.
I hope Blizzard finds a way to make every type of comp viable. Like we cannot have rock paper scissors. Like we need to have rock on some maps, but the rock becomes paper on the other map.
Yes. Yeah, I can agree with that. Because if it does just become quad tank, then we just move into a similar problem that we have now. Every flex DPS is crying because they've been in brig jail and now they're just going to be in tank jail. So we definitely need a more interesting composition to come through so that the players and the spectators are happy. But I like the direction that Blizzard are taking at the moment. I feel like they are listening. If the changes aren't coming through as quickly as we'd like, at least it is happening. So that's good.
That's
Uh,
that's something, but they are way too slow. Like we cannot stay in a stale meta for like we had 2 years of dive and now we have almost 2 years of goats and cannot abort the game like on the hero based game like that cannot.
mm.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of meta defining, we do know that the GOAT meta was created somewhere in Open Division, and that will bring us to our next topic. Before we get onto that, reminder once again, I'm going to hop on this forever. Exclamation mark grind will bring you to our Discord. You can hop in and send your questions to the guests, which we'll do at the end of the show. We lost Kolsti. He will be remembered. Oh, he back.
Sorry, I have to drink some water.
That's fine. Why is your water so far away?
Because my desk is like 3 meter long, so it's all the way on the right.
Oh my god, okay. Sure, why not? So Open Division. There've been a couple of changes to Open Division as well. We have finally got the correct map pool, which is pretty exciting. I know that you guys aren't going to be involved in Open Division, but it is a huge part of the path to pro, and some of you did start your journey there. So it's definitely worth mentioning. I don't know if you guys have seen the map pool at all. Yes,
Not at
no?
all.
Not really,
Oh.
no.
Wow, y'all are bad.
I haven't really been focusing on that. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's understandable. So for control, we've got Lijiang, Nepal, and Oasis. So it's 3 maps per map type, which is quite a lot. Lijiang, Nepal, Oasis, Hollywood, Nimbani, Eichenwald, Paris, Hanamura, Temple, Watchpoint, Junkertown, Dorado. Given everything that we've spoken about with the meta recently and the changes and map dependencies and whatever, what do you guys think of that map pool?
I think it's pretty diverse. I think just hearing the payloads, I think there's like a diversity there. I think Junkertown, I think there's like you either play snipers or you play ghosts. There's really no in between. I think Dorado's pretty much just goats at this point. But Gibraltar's a lot of snipers, so I think the payload is like whatever you're best at. If you're best at snipers, you're gonna play Gibraltar. If you're best at goats, you're gonna play Dorado. And if you're kind of like not sure, you'll play Junkertown. So I think there's kind of a diversity there, but I'm not quite sure how that'll play out.
You go, Erki.
I go. Yeah, we just say that I was actually thinking about the same with the payload maps that it's actually I actually think they are all like very viable sniper maps in my opinion. So I think a lot of snipers will be played there. Even though as you said, Ghost will probably be the best on Dorado, possibly. So and yeah, the other maps, I don't know, probably Goats there as well.
The thing is, people
My
like
best guess.
in EU in particular, you are going to have only 2 spots, so people are gonna go for the safest bet, and the safest bet is always playing the safest comp, which is goats. And it's gonna be hard for people. Like the thing is, when you go double sniper or triple dips comps, you have to put a lot of work in trying to make it work. And if you do one mistake, one fuck up, you cannot play it anymore. So why try it when you can put that time to improving your goats, which is much better overall because you can use that composition on all maps basically.
Damn, that's depressing.
That's depressing, kinda. I mean, I hope for the coming year, like I told you before, that they find a way to make DPS better. But right now, the supports and tanks are way too strong in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think once again, coming back to all the changes that are being made, it's definitely going to help. And you did mention that it's 2 teams going up from Open Division, and that's for EU. I think NA is also 4 teams.
I
Not
think
also.
I'm not sure honestly. I haven't paid a ton of attention. I believe it's 4 teams. I think that's what it was before, and I think they kept it constant. At least coming from like an Open Division player, I think usually early on you get like kind of easy teams. Like if you're a higher up team, like if you're a team with like Contenders Trials players, I think like you'll kind of roll through the first few weeks, and then it'll get a little bit harder. So I think that there's not much change at least. What were the big changes? I know it was like a change to how Contenders Trials rank up works. What were the other changes? Because I don't have them off the top of my head.
Well, a lot of the changes were specifically for the first season. So Academy is getting confirmed spots or
Mhm.
locked spots rather, and then everybody else gets relegated. Moving into the next season, that no longer applies. Now
Mhm.
teams will be relegated based on their performance and not based on whether they're Academy or not. So that's huge, especially for the EU
Mhm.
scene at the moment, because there are only 2 Academy teams. Um, so
Mhm.
that's a big difference for us. And then just the number of teams that are coming up from Open Division changing
Mhm.
from 1 to 2 for EU. And was it
Mhm.
only 4 for NA? For
I
some reason,
believe it was 4.
or was that
Uh,
Contenders?
I think Contenders Trials was always 4 because there was always 4 relegations in Contenders NA. So there was always
Yeah.
8 teams for Trials. So I think it was always 4. So I don't really think there's many changes at all for NA, honestly. Besides like the relegation thing, I don't think there's much change. So for Open Division, I think it's pretty constant.
Somebody in the chat just said 6.
6? Was it 6? My bad.
Yeah, it was
Look,
6.
I never actually was in Contenders Trials because I was on Skyfoxes for 2 days and then I got moved up.
Woo!
I got moved up to the Uprising Academy then. So
Swimmer just flexing on literally everyone.
well, I got knocked out of Open Division playoffs with Dogma Nikita, and then one of the coaches was like, "Hey, you want to try out for Skyfoxes?" I was like, "Sure, that sounds good. That's a good like backup because I'm out of Open Division. I have no team." So I did that. I got on the team. They're like, "We want to build the team around you." I was like, "Great, sounds awesome." But a great team. A day later, I got a message. I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'm leaving Skyfoxes." So that was my journey.
Yikes. Nice. That's cool though, I suppose. You're just making everybody else feel terrible because they try. Uh, but I suppose for EU, at least, the team that did come second in Open Division, which was Falafel Avengers Partners, I'm not going to say the abbreviation. Unfortunately, they didn't make it through to Contenders, but a lot of their players did get picked up by Young and Beautiful, so that was huge for them. But I think that this is going to be a great change coming through, that more teams are able to go up to trials. Well, one more for EU, 2 less for NA. That's not too bad.
Mhm.
I think we can live with that change.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. A lot of people
Yeah.
complained about the one spot, right? So
It's
Yeah.
something.
Thing is, like, there's a lot of talent, but not enough space. So we can only hope that more academies are gonna invest in you,
Yeah.
or at least, like, not even academies, just organizations.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I've heard from people is about how you buy an owl spot and it doesn't work like Open Division to Contenders, where it goes Contenders to owl. Um, what do you guys think of a change like that? This is kind of off topic, but if that had to become a change, there's 2 suggestions that I've heard. So that was one of them, where your spot in owl is based on your performance in Contenders. The other one was where they have a system similar to NBA 2K, where it's a drafting system. Something like you get to keep 2 players and the rest go into a pool, and then all of the teams draft from that pool. Thoughts?
I don't think the draft system would work in this game, to be honest, because it's still like, so. When you make a team, you have to think first as the players, not as players, but like as humans, how they're gonna interact with each other, and then you build on how you can make these players like, who are good with the others, how they can play together. So like, if you have to redraft your team every time, like, you're gonna have to rebuild. Like, depending on how often you can draft, like, I think it's once a year in NBA. Like, I don't know, but it's something like this. Like, it can be good, but also bad for the lower tier players. Like, you can save a spot, like in Contenders, it's better to stay in the team and try to walk your way up with the team than just moving up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Honestly.
yeah, I think like if you can actually qualify to Overwatch League, that would be like huge, especially in this meta, because I think a lot of people also agree with this, that EU was probably better than all the regions. But I think like right now, it probably like New York and Titans are really good. But like I think the other teams will probably just D-rank or whatever, go to Contenders. But I don't know. And I think if you invest like $20 million, it's not that good for the Overwatch League teams. That is.
I think it would be amazing if the Overwatch League teams got relegated to Contenders.
Yeah, I mean League of Legends has that system, right? With
I
LCS,
believe so,
I think.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they should do like they did for Contenders, like start of the year, like new season, you put all your Overwatch League teams back into Overwatch and Contenders back to to Contenders. But like if during mid-season, like stage 2, they get demoted, that's when you move up another team.
Mhm.
Like it should be more dynamic, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting, but you have to remember, like, a lot of teams, like, especially in NA, they're like just random teams with kids from school. Like a lot of the players, like I still have school, I'm still in high school, even though I'm on an academy team. But like a lot of like teams that are unsigned, like they are literally like people with working jobs and kids in school. So it'd be like kind of odd for them to like have to like quit their jobs or take off for like a few months or stuff like that, especially when they're in school. So I don't think that system would work necessarily.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's still a commitment. Like,
Mm,
that's why being pro at a young age is a hard decision to take.
mm,
And you have to either, like, you cannot commit for just 6 months. Like, I think whenever you want to go video games, you have to commit for at least
yeah,
2 years and make something out of it.
I
So,
think
like, it's also up to them.
Yeah, I think most people on like I think actually everyone on if you're on an academy team currently, you're committing, and I think most people in NA contenders right now are committing. I think a few teams, like Sky Foxes for example, I think they're getting a team house. I believe I heard that somewhere, but
Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
like teams like that, like more teams are like kind of committing to it, but I still think as like a whole, like some teams don't have that chance to commit. But yeah, so I mean,
Thing is,
Yeah,
like, it's still really awkward for contenders players. Like
Mhm.
right now, contenders is not a goal, and if you look at other game, well, say League of Legends, for example, you can take the academy spots as a goal because then you can move up. But in Overwatch, it's not realistic right now because there's too much, uh, like the buyouts, for example, like some stuff really stops players from moving up from contenders,
Mhm.
and that's something the Blizzard needs to work on with the organization. I mean, the Overwatch League teams.
Yeah, I feel like when you're on an org as well, if you wanna like if Overwatch League wants to actually buy you out, they have to pay a lot of money as well, right? So I think if you're not on an org, like that's kind of rewarding in a way, which is not that good. Like you wanna have orgs in this game, right, to support players.
I know
Uh,
some. Sorry, go.
Now you can go ahead. I was done.
I know some players in Overwatch League Season 1 and to pay their own buyouts from teams, else they wouldn't be in Overwatch League.
Oh my word.
Mhm.
So that's something that really stops. Like, as much as I know that organization needs to make money on the investment, I mean, return on investment, they still need to be more open to let the player develop. So that's really something they need to talk about with Blizzard, and Blizzard really needs to put much more work and time and to make sure everyone is happy.
Mhm.
So if you guys had the power, what changes would you like to see? I'm not going to talk about the game here, but let's talk about
Mhm.
how the competitions are run. What kinds of changes would you guys like to see that you think would help uplift specifically the tier 2 and tier 3 scenes?
Allow
Land.
more events, not Blizzard sponsored.
Mhm.
Just that, and remove the, because like there's a cash prize point where Blizzard has to give them the approval, the tournament runner, and we need to either up the amount or like remove it completely. And
Mhm.
that will be the first step, like just making sure that the tier 2 scene can live without Blizzard supporting them, and then just have Blizzard focus on the tier 1 scene.
An interesting
LAN
take.
events.
Yeah.
Oh,
Way
Yeah.
more
yeah.
LAN events.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's your
Yeah,
favorite person.
If you actually go to World Cup, you probably play more games than any other contender player. Like you can even be a really bad team in World Cup. You get more matches and more experience in LAN.
And exposure mostly.
Yeah, that as well. That's huge. But I don't really complain on World Cup though. I think they
Yeah.
should definitely have more LANs in the contender scene.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have like in Korea they have LAN all the time, right? I'm pretty sure.
Not this year anymore.
Not
Not this year.
anymore.
Oh,
They used
okay.
to have LAN for like top open teams, but now they don't.
Okay.
They have right now it's LAN for I think it's open playoffs. They have LAN now. I don't know if they have it. I think they have it for contenders, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. But it's still like a huge
Mhm.
difference, right, from NA and EU.
I mean, there's still like Blizzard did something right this year is the gauntlet. Like having all regions face off in a LAN environment, that's gonna be good, and I hope they keep going that way. Like that's
Yeah.
the really good thing they did this year for Contenders.
Mhm.
For sure.
Mhm.
Those are the big changes that you would like to see.
More teams,
Uh,
more LANs. No, but like a middle of season event, like for Contenders or even Overwatch League, something bigger than what they currently have. Something that won't that like give, how do you say that, opportunities to player, or like make players want to be and grind, want to be the best and grind the game to be there at that exact moment. Like you want exposure, you want to be passionate about the game, but you have to give the player something to be passionate about.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think a big factor at the moment is just lack of motivation. Because it comes down to like realistic goal setting. So all the players have this goal of OWL, and
Mhm.
it's so difficult to find the motivation to get there because it's such a big goal, but the scene is so difficult to maneuver through at the moment. Especially given this last season with the academy team rule, a lot of players have retired in the last couple of months, and I think that's really been a big blow to the scene. Yes, there's going to be some new up and comers coming up in open division, hopefully, but that's definitely made a difference. And of course, when players see so many of these big names retiring en masse, it doesn't exactly instill confidence in them.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that actually having a good tier 2 scene and a tier 3 scene is really beneficial for like the game itself. You know, you always have these people that are like tier 2, tier 3, they want to be tier 1, right? So there's always going to be competition for the tier 1 scene, which makes them want to strive to be better. But like right now, or like the last year when we had like lands for semi-finalists and then land for only finalists and like no land, you know, then it's like just get worse and worse, and you feel like the motivation just goes away.
Yeah.
That's really bad because you really need a healthy tier 2 scene to make the game
But like if we
healthy.
talk pre-Overwatch League or even pre-Contenders, like they used to be huge LANs, like just the Tech TV LAN, for
Okay.
example, run by Hungry Titans organization. That was
Yeah.
like the best, one of the best LAN I went to. Like it was a really friendly setting, and we need that kind of stuff. Like if
Yeah.
you want storylines to be made, be taught,
Mhm.
you need this kind of events.
Yeah. And storylines are so important for keeping viewers engaged.
Yes.
You know, they want a reason to watch more than just, oh, we're going to watch two teams swing hammers at each other. It really engages them, and it helps them stand behind a team. It's exactly why Overwatch League went with this whole city vibe instead of just like Cloud9, NRG, etc., etc. They went with the city because it's something that teams can rally behind. So I definitely agree with you on that point. Storylines are so huge, and it's been very difficult to, as a broadcaster myself, it's been very difficult to make those storylines. This last season, our storylines have been basically, so this team is like two people that were on the team before and four new people. So our storylines are just going to be about the players and not about the teams, and that really makes a huge. I think we can move on to the Q&A. Sorry, did you have another point?
No, I was just like thinking storylines, and I was thinking about Angry Titans. Like even if the team changed a lot this season, like there's still a lot of people behind them because they
Yeah,
almost won Contenders 2 seasons in a row, and that's something big.
almost.
Like this.
Becoming the new runaway. Not
No,
really.
but like it's one of the only team with Giganti stayed strong and was a top contender in the contender scenes in Europe,
Mhm.
and that's what we need. But for that we need more help from Blizzard.
Yeah. It's been really nice for Giganti and Angry Titans because also the fact that they've stayed together, the main core of their players has remained mostly unchanged for so long, and that really has been nice. And that's why they've got such big fan bases, because
There's,
people, yeah,
as much as it's good for them, like they stayed together, it's also sad that some of the players didn't move up to better
yeah.
opportunities because some of them didn't even get chance to show
Mm,
that they were good.
yeah,
And that's
that is actually unfortunate. These are some of the top players included. A little bit sad, but I think that going forward there should be more opportunities, especially now with the showdowns and the gauntlets, and it's definitely going to create opportunities to showcase these players a little bit more. And there's been a lot more eyes on contenders over the last couple of months. The numbers have really skyrocketed from, if you just look over the last year. So I think it's definitely improving somewhat. Definitely space to improve even more, but we'll
it's
see where it
something.
goes. It's something. Is that like your catchphrase?
No, I mean you have to settle for the small thing, you know. Like if you cannot get the big things directly, you have to go for the small win
Yep.
or something.
That's what she said.
Get something and keep smiling, right?
Oh,
I think Kolsti is the only person that heard that. All right, let's move on to our Q&A. We do have quite a few questions here, but there is always still time to submit more questions. So once again, say it with me now. !grind will bring you to our Discord server, or you can just pop them in the Twitch chat. That's fine as well. Our man on the scene, Sci-Fight, will send those over to me. All right, let's get started with some of these questions. Wow, there are so many questions here. Give me a sec. Okay. Um, okay, this is a cool one. What is something you wish would be incorporated with the next hero? I'm not sure if that is specifically about Baptiste or like the next hero. Probably like a whole new hero. Like if you had to design a whole new hero, what kind of abilities would you guys like to see?
Something that deletes Brig.
I agree. It's all we need right
I
now.
went for it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a
something that can
yikes.
pierce through shields, go through shields. That
Through
we,
shields.
yeah, I mean like a rain barrier, for example, something that can go through it more than just the. Like we need a gun design like Winston, but on a DPS, basically.
I think we need the Brig Bash to be reverted and go for
Yeah,
shooting.
yeah, no, not like this. Like something not that is not that broken. Like something that can enable new plays, enable something that counter the meta, but
Mhm.
like not be broken. But it's also that's what I think that's what they've been trying to do with Batis giving immortality feed and damage metrics. Like they've been trying to allow the scan to be better against tank. So they need to keep trying stuff like that.
Cool. All right, next one for Kolsti. Not really a question, so I'll just read this one. I'm really impressed at how teams like One.Point and Second Wind develop tier 3 talent into tier 2 and tier 1 talent so well. I hope to see more of that soon. Yesterday's match was great, and young players like Yequids are perfect for development. Good luck. Aww.
I mean, as much as it's us team, I mean, staff developing players, it's also up to the players to be angry enough to grind because we take them to
Stay
VOD
angry.
reviews. Like the newer players, let's say for a team, we have 2 hour VOD review, and the veterans 2 hours enough. But for the young, inexperienced players, we go like 4 hours, like even 6 hours a day.
Wow. That
And
is
that's something we need to teach them because they're basically new. They know nothing about the game on the team setting. So we have to teach them, and we do them the advanced fast course.
Cool. All right, next one also for everybody. What was the moment where you realized that you could actually go pro or have a place in the pro scene? Somebody is pulling a Zoidberg in the background. Woo! Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I don't know if I should go.
Go
My
for
story's
it.
my story's a little different, I guess. I think it was after I hurt my knee and I realized then I went to the Fusion University LAN and I did pretty well. I was like, hey, like I could really do this, especially because I'm still young, I'm still learning, and it was always kind of been a dream. Like ever since I kind of like was out of the water, I was like, this is really cool. I really like this. I want to do this. But I think when I got onto Dogma Akita and I realized like, hey, like I'm actually pretty okay at this game. I can keep grinding, I can keep working. I think that was like the moment I realized like, hey, I can keep working at this. And then yeah, I think that's about it, honestly.
For me, it was actually was with a LAN with the team Red Reserve a long time ago, and it was like I was standing actually because one of the players couldn't play, and I think like we performed pretty well, and that was like my first LAN as well, and I felt like after that, like it could actually be something. What the hell? Yeah, that was basically.
Like some of my friends were already players. Like I mean, one of my closest friends was in a team on Shootmania with Sun and Anko. So I've been going and watch them at LANs, and just the atmosphere and the adrenaline rush I could feel going. Like it was something that maybe I could consider that I'm done with my studies.
Mhm.
So that's what I did.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I'm being shouted at by our social media guy because I'm not saying who the question. So that one was from JK Wolfo in Twitch. The next question is from said social media manager on Discord for Swimmer. Fans have wanted you to be on for a while, not just on the grind, but just in general. Like they've been clamoring for some Swimmer content. How do you deal with all of this attention as such a popular professional player?
I don't know. I kind of just say big fan a lot. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's cool to like have some sort of attention, but I don't really pay attention to it that much. I focus more on like what can I do to improve? How can I fix my gameplay? What can I do in like certain situations to do that kind of stuff? A lot of people don't actually know where Big Fan came from. It was actually me. Like I was playing quick play with a few friends, and someone was I think like a silver or gold like a tracer man, right? And they really, really, really wanted to climb, and they saw I was top 500, and they were so stuck and they were so sad that like, no one believes in me. I can't do this. So I actually was like, hey, you know, I'm a big fan of you, dude. Like you can do this, you can climb. And one of my friends then kind of like mocked me with that, saying big fan of me like all the time. So I started to say it, and it became a meme, and that's where big fan started. But mainly it was just I don't know. I guess I'm just like a positive player, so I'm able to like stay positive while I'm going through any sort of hardships, I guess. So I mean, I guess that's why people kind of like me. I don't know. I'm pretty much just I'm a rando. I mean I swam and now I'm playing video games. That's about it. That's my story.
That's adorable. Like so many memes have terrible origins. That's so PMA. I love it. All right, next question is from Reepy Russell on Discord for Erki and Kolsti. And Swimmer, you can definitely chip in on this if you want to.
Okay.
What makes EU so dominant in GOATS meta compared to other regions?
We're born in it and molded by it.
Fight.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
I think it's literally just like they've been playing it for so much longer. I think like a lot of NA teams didn't really start playing goats until like kind of recently or like last contender season, while EU has been playing quad tank for so long, and they got into goats and like, hey, this is like pretty similar. We can do this pretty easily. A lot of NA teams are trying to like force DPS or force different metas, so that's pretty much what just happened. And as Klaus said, EU runs are pretty nutty because they've been playing tanks for so long. So.
And if you go way back, we had an IP in the triple tank meta. Then it was Eagle with the 4 tank, and then it became Goats. So just comes down to us having more experience than.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not sure what I can add to that, but I definitely agree with them.
All right. Let's see. Okay, this is another one from Sci-Fi on Discord for Erki. Really, Chase. Can you tell us more about your setup now and where you're at? It looks so professional.
Well, we're actually in the basement of Take Two. On the board. Actually, it's actually really nice here.
The
Maybe I
basement.
can maybe I can show you. Wait.
Okay, yeah, show us.
Let's see. So here, wait.
Oh wow.
Here's the sofa, and we have our own
Oh
bar.
yeah, it was actually
Yo,
very
that's
nice there.
huge.
That's really nice. Yeah.
And here's the boys gaming.
Hello.
We have another side as well. Like for other people if you want to.
No,
It's
there's
really-
still
it's
the
really
arcade games on top, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice to play them. We got the
That's
new
so
ones as well.
huge.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
really nice.
That started out as such a meme, all the gamers in the basement, and then it turned out you have like a basement bigger than my whole house.
Yeah,
So that's a thing.
pretty good.
Damn, not
Wonderful
jealous.
thing.
Okay. All right. Almost Panda on Twitch for Erki as well. What are Angry Titans strats for your next match against SMC?
Just press W like last time. Oh wait, we lost last time. Fuck. Oh. We actually lose so
bad
much to
boys.
SMC actually.
Oh yeah, we beat them. We beat you last season.
Yeah, and like the first season when you were wait, that's a disband? It was
Yeah.
basically the same team, right? We lost that one, so
Yeah, you
There's
also
some kind
lost.
of
It was the
curse.
first match of Contenders.
yeah.
Never lost to Angry Titan. SMC never lost to Angry Titan Contenders.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we're gonna do like 1 point. We don't have a strat, and then they can't predict anything. So
That's the
Nice.
best
Maybe
kind
that's
of
a
plan.
yeah, for sure.
Let me see. Yeah. Just make sure that we've gone through most of them. Okay. Here's another one from Russell. And it's kind of similar to his first question. What do you think are the biggest differences in play between the EU and NA contenders?
I mean, without giving too much informations, like I've been able to watch both EU and NA streams from really close.
Mhm.
And aside from experience, it's really understanding what is strong or not on like what kind of players. And there's the thing is like in EU we could be saying that we are on advanced level while NA tenders are still on the basic level.
Mhm.
This is some BM right there.
I mean that's BM, but that's pretty much true though. Like, I think we all agree on the EU side that NA goats is like
Yeah, that's true.
it's like a baby goat, you know, while we are old, really strong goat with a big, nice horns. You know?
Yeah, for sure. But I think they are coming like they will do a comeback. I think, or they
Yeah,
do
they're
it
going
now.
up.
So.
Like
Yeah,
if you
for
watch
sure.
even Overwatch League teams, like week 1 they were really
Yeah,
meh.
dude. Oh, I
Mm.
couldn't
And
watch
now,
that,
like,
dude.
yeah, and now
Oh.
like you watched last week or even this week, like now they all improved really, really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, the Korean like Vancouver Titans and New York, like they look so good. It's insane.
Yeah, they're probably the best two goats team in Overwatch League right now. Even Paris, I would rank them 4th, even lower right now. From judging
Fourth
judging
goat
from
team?
their play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question from Sci-Fi once again. What is your favorite hero ability to use and why?
Briggle, because if the other team doesn't have Briggle, you win. And if the other if the other team plays DPS or something, they also lose. So yeah, just no
That's pretty
skill,
much it.
insta win. Yeah, I
You
like
said
that.
it all. Cannot add more. No, it's probably Graviton second.
Graviton Surge?
Yeah, Graviton Surge, we can get a fat 6-man Graviton Surge.
I think you've depressed all like 60 odd people that are watching right now. Pretend that Goats is not meta and Rig Alt does not save the game for the purposes of diversity.
Lucio Wallride because it's fun. I used to be like a Mercy player, and I thought Guardian Angel was really, really fun. And I think it was DSP Stanky I saw, and I was like that looks so cool. I really want to learn that. So I taught myself how to wall ride, and I think that's my favorite ability currently is wall riding.
I
So,
kind of agree with that actually. I love when we do like map reviews. I just pick Lucio and just wall ride around like all the
Yeah.
time. It's so fun.
Dude, facing FD God on Lucio on some maps is just
Yeah,
hard.
he's a fucking bird, dude. He's in the air all
Yeah,
the time.
he's flying in spots. You've never seen Lucio. Like, if your Lucio tries that, your team is saying you are gonna int. And it's a gamble because sometimes FD got ints, but sometimes it does it great. But it's just
I agree.
I think
Like,
that's
so-
the story of all Lucios though. Like if you're a good Lucio, there's two sides of the story. There's you int or you kill two and you get out. And
Yeah,
I think usually it's inting, but I mean I can
there's
hope,
no in
right?
between. You go huge or you go
Yeah.
home.
Exactly.
That's true.
That is my exact feeling about Wrecking. Whenever I see a Wrecking Ball, I'm like, this guy is either gonna feed or he's gonna be a god. There's
Yeah.
literally no in between.
That's the how Biscuit is made though. Like when you're in, you're in. There are no way to get out.
Mhm.
I have a question actually for Swimmer. You started this story, and I'd really like to hear more about it. Your headphones that have exploded or something.
Okay, so yeah, basically on one of my old teams, one of the players was really loud. He's like a really loud guy. I forget what team it was exactly or who it was, but I remember one day in scrims he like yelled really loud, like really close to his microphone, and he yelled so loud that the left ear of my headphones like kind of broke. So if it's at max volume, I can't hear out of it because it was like pushed to its limits basically, and it's broken now. So I have to have my headphones at half volume and like everything else at like 100. So I have everyone on Discord at 200%, and I have basic Discord at 200% because otherwise I cannot hear you. But I mean, it's a
Wow.
simple story, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Scuffed setup.
Exactly. I used to so I am the king of scuffed setups. I didn't own a mousepad until the beginning of Contender Season 3.
What?
And I ran I had never owned a mousepad before. I just never had one, and then I got one. I was like, wow, this is cool. And I also ran 1800 DPI, 15 in game sensitivity, so I had 27,000 eDPI. So yeah, I have a history of scuffed setups. Oh, and also I played on 40 FPS until maybe like 4 months ago when I saved up for a new computer. So
Wait, 40?
but like yeah, like I hover between 40 to like 80. Like that was my FPS.
It's for a new play support. It doesn't matter.
exactly. That is
I
true. But
played
yeah,
League.
no. Jane donated me a mouse pad. I was on when I was on Dogma Nikita. He sent me an Amazon card that was like, "Hey, here's a mouse pad," and it was just him holding up the middle finger at me. So that was great.
That's huge. Well, I mean, you were saying about how Kolsti joking about you being support. I mean, I've heard that a Lucio player just spends half the game holding tab.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's wrong. I think I like in games where like tab is like an ability, like where you can press tab and see things. Like I have to like stop myself from pressing tab because I just do it instinctually so much. So, I mean, yeah, I press tab a lot.
I mean, you can also learn to play while tab is always pressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's like a new level, like a time chamber, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, oh yeah. Oh, Mari's Discord crashed. Unfortunate.
Alright, it's who wants to be host? Who wants to take
I got it.
Alright, right. Let's hear. Q&A, right?
Okay, I don't know. Chat, what questions do you have? I'm the new host. I've taken over. No questions, unfortunately.
No questions.
When's
Okay, I'm
say that
back.
again? I'm sorry. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
I don't know. I think the coolest thing that like has happened so far is someone got a custom Boston jersey with my name and number, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So, but swimmer merch, I have no idea. Oh, and Klaus asked what kind of Luso I am. Klaus, you should know this already. That's as much as I will say. I'm an inter. I int, but I do it intelligently, and I usually live. Emphasis on usually.
All right, my microphone is back. I don't know, my Discord just like disconnected, and I was like, no, I missed all the answers, and I feel sad. This is gonna be a really random question. And this one is for Erki as well. What's it like living with Russell?
I mean, we're not really living with Russell, luckily. But if we would, that would be a fucking pain. Oh, I can't swear, maybe. Sorry.
You get F's in the chat for Russell.
F's in the chat for Russell. Sorry, Russell.
Bro, anybody want to touch it, please?
Sorry.
All right, guys. Unless anybody in the chat has any more questions. Whoa, that was.
I was timed out for 600 seconds. I was just telling Klaus good morning. I'm sorry. Chat doesn't like me.
Actual meme.
Klaus told me I tell him good morning too much on my Twitter, so I had to tell him good morning.
What the hell? How can you spam the man for being, nice? That's rude. I wish somebody said good morning to me that much. Okay, Fat has a question. Hopefully he types fast.
Yes. I can maybe read it. No, he posted it now.
Oh my god. Erki mustache wet.
No. I got that. I hope you never seen it. This is pretty bad.
I want to see it.
Maybe someday, if I don't shave for a while.
But no, you have to do it. Now you have to do it because it's on the grind and we're official and stuff.
Only if they win contenders.
Yeah, if we go to the land, I would.
That's actually fair. That's fair. Okay. We're gonna hold you to that. This is a
It's a Dogman Part 2.
yeah. This is a podcast where we take our bets very seriously. The last bets we had, I had to eat a chili. At the start of one of our episodes, we had Ham Tornado doing a shoey. Pooposaurus is going to dye his hair blue, and
Oh, fun.
I think Pixie is still busy learning this. He's meant to sing the Brazilian national anthem because they all lost bets on Contenders last season. So we take this seriously. So we're going to clip that and we're going to tweet it out, and hopefully you guys make land so that we can see the Erki stash.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. I think that kind of brings us to the end here of our episode 9. Thank you guys once again for being here. It's been really great having you as guests. Oh, we've got another sign.
Just had to say hello.
All right, thank you so much to our guests, Erki, Kolsti, and Swimmer. You guys have been fantastic. It's really great having you guys here. Thank you to our producer, Bemi, who stepped up at the last minute to help us out when our usual producer's GPU exploded. This has been a great episode. Once again, for the last time this episode, !grind, please come join our Discord server. Any questions that you guys have for these guys, you are welcome to post them in the questions channel, the questions submission channel. Please do not tag them because I'm assuming they get lots of tags all the time and it's kind of annoying. But if they do
Please
have to
tag
see
me.
it, then okay, please tag
Yeah,
Swimmer
no
if he wants to be tagged.
I want more.
So you can just post your questions in there. Hopefully, when they have a chance, they'll get back to you on that. And we will see you guys for the next episode in 2 weeks. We've got some exciting stuff planned for you, so I hope to see you guys there. Thank you also for Chase, for Sci-Fi, for all the hard work you do keeping this podcast running. And I feel I need to mention JBN because he exists. And that's about it, really. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
I
Bye.
guess.
Thank you.
Have a good-
Bye-bye.